Your mind feels full, but unfocused. You've spent the past hour scrolling, drifting from one window to another, half a message written, a dozen thoughts half formed. Then you pick up a notebook, not because you know what to say, but because you need a place for your thoughts to land. You write one line, then another. The words come out uneven, uncertain, and something inside you shifts. This journal, I started it when I was 16. Look at these pages, full of teenage heartbreak, big dreams, terrible poetry. And there's this one. This was from my first of many trips to Egypt. Every fear, every breakthrough, every moment, I didn't think I could take another step. It's all here. I didn't know it then, but I was doing something remarkable for my brain. In brain scans, something extraordinary happens when people write down their feelings. The regions for emotion and the regions for reasoning begin to synchronize. It's as if the brain is learning to talk to itself. That's the hidden power of journaling. It's not just reflection, it's a neurological repair. When you write, the prefrontal cortex, that part of that helps you plan, analyze, and think, well, it begins to communicate with the amygdala, that region that reacts to emotions. That dialogue gives shape to chaos. A 2021 study from Stanford found that expressive writing helps the brain recover from stress. The mid-cingulate cortex, which usually fires under emotional pressure, becomes calmer, more coordinated. And when you put your emotions into words, the ventrolateral prefrontal cortex turns on, helping to quiet the amygdala. This process is called affect labeling. It allows you to feel without drowning in the feeling. Even the way you write matters. A 2023 study in Frontiers of Psychology showed that handwriting activates more areas of the brain than typing. I'm sure you've experienced this. I used to memorize better, understand better when I wrote notes and read from my own written notes. When your hand moves through the thoughts, your mind slows down just enough to make sense of itself. There's something about pen meeting paper, the slight resistance, the imperfect lines, that creates different kind of attention. You can't scroll past your own handwriting. You have to sit with it.
Technique number 1.
Think about something you still carry a disappointment, a loss, a moment that lingers longer than it should. 15 to 20 minutes. Just write about it. Don't worry about the grammar. Don't edit. Don't write for someone else. Just write until you run out of words. This is called expressive writing, developed by psychologist James Penbaker. It works because the brain treats emotional suppression as unfinished work, and writing completes that loop. I remember the night I wrote this entry. I was 20, freshly heartbroken, sitting on my apartment floor, 2 a.m., and just filled 7 pages until my hand cramped. I cried so hard I couldn't see the words. And when I finished, something released. Studies show that after expressive writing, the brain's emotional centers quiet down, while cognitive control increases. Your body feels lighter because your mind has stopped trying to contain what it's finally released. You might cry, you might feel tired, you might want to stop halfway, and that's okay. Healing requires a small amount of discomfort before calm returns.
Technique number 2. Gratitude journaling.
Now imagine a different kind of page. Instead of pain, fill it with presence. Write down 2 or 3 things that you're grateful for. The smell of the rain, a message that arrived when you needed it, a meal that made you feel safe. Look at this entry from a really difficult period. I'm grateful for my sister calling exactly when I needed to hear her voice. I'm grateful for the barista who remembered my order and smiled. I'm grateful for my body that got me through another day. Gratitude journaling doesn't force positivity. It retrains your attention. And neuroscience have found that practicing gratitude activates the ventral striatum and the medial prefrontal cortex, regions that regulate mood and motivation. And when you do this daily, you teach your brain to look for what is stable instead of what is threatening you. But be specific. I'm grateful for my friend becomes, I'm grateful for the way my friend listened when I was quiet. And that detail anchors the memory, and your brain begins to build new emotional associations over time. This practice tunes your nervous system towards balance. It doesn't erase struggle, it helps you see beyond it.
Technique 3. Reflective reframing.
Start with a challenge. Write about what happened plainly, without judgment. Then write what it revealed to you, what it taught you. And finally, write one small action you can take next time. Here's one from when I didn't get a position I desperately wanted. First, I wrote what happened, just the facts. Then I wrote what it revealed about my fears and my assumptions. And then I wrote about how I do it differently. And this pattern strengthens the prefrontal regions that regulate emotional reactivity. It builds the ability to pause, reinterpret before reacting. So you learn to step back, not detach, but to understand. And over time, this practice reshapes resilience itself. You begin to see difficulties not as failures, but as data points for growth. And that subtle shift changes how your brain responds to future stress. You don't need to use all three of these techniques every single day. Think of journaling as a mental cross training. Use expressive writing when the emotions feel heavy. Maybe use gratitude journaling when you feel numb or distant. And use reflective reframing when life feels confusing. Each practice strengthens different circuits of awareness. And over weeks and months, you'll notice subtle changes. You pause longer before reacting, you remember more clearly, you recover more quickly, and your handwriting becomes the trace of a mind learning to heal itself. We think of journaling as self expression, but it's also self construction. Each word you write is a small act of neuroplasticity, a quiet experiment of honesty and adaptation. These journals, they're not just my past, they're proof I survived, that I grew, that I kept showing up for myself, one page at a time. So when you sit with a blank page, don't ask yourself, what should I write? Ask instead, what is my brain trying to tell me? And then listen.